Donald Trump says America is the hottest country in the world. But if there's anything wrong with it at all, well, that's Joe Biden's fault. This is just another day. With the midterms fast approaching, Donald Trump is doing everything he can to tout his accomplishments and showcase how amazing these past 18 months have been.
Costs are going down rapidly. Don't forget, I inherited these. I haven't been here very long. I inherited the worst inflation in history from Biden.
Or he's decided to continue blaming the previous guy. Yes, almost halfway through his presidency, and Donald Trump is still faulting Joe Biden for America's financial woes. Apparently, the one thing standing in this genius billionaire's way is old Uncle Autopen, a man who supposedly didn't even have the faculties to sign documents with his own wrinkly hand, but somehow still had the wherewithal to set Trump up to fail for years. But hey, on the plus side, at least Trump has found a new way to attack Biden's inflation numbers.
Their core inflation was so high that nobody could even calculate it.
That's right. You know how that happens with math? When the numbers become so high, they just turn into emojis? Or if you're Matt Gaetz, once a number exceeds 17, it's just this emoji. But I'm sure America's current high inflation was the only issue that Donald Trump said Joe Biden was responsible for.
Are you concerned about depleted stockpiles if there is a growing conflict in Iran?
We have plenty. We have a lot of ammunition, different types. You know, Biden gave a lot to Ukraine, and we're in very good shape. But for some of the more sophisticated stuff, we'd certainly like to have more. Biden gave a lot of it away.
Trump is constantly trying to have it both ways. He wants to blame Joe Biden for our decreased weapon stockpile, but also claim that our weapon stockpile has never been better. Much in the same way he wanted to pass on his genetics to his children, but also wants to use one of the recipients of those genetics as a receptacle for his penis. I just feel like there might be some reason, outside of Joe Biden's generosity toward Ukraine, that our stockpiles of weapons have been depleted.
Sources tell ABC News that President Donald Trump has held off on a major escalation in the war with Iran. The administration is now pushing for diplomacy amid questions about the United States' stockpile of weapons.
Wow. Who would have thought that the man who bulldozed the White House without approval to build himself a money pit of a gold-encrusted ballroom would be unreliable when it comes to managing resources? And not to be a contrarian here, but I'm not sure why everybody is so concerned about America's stockpiles. After this past weekend, I feel extremely confident that Donald Trump has plenty of bombs left.
The other day, a senator I knew got a text, a great guy, from his wife. And she said, when you get home, I want to have you immediately come up the stairs and make love to me. And he said, I can't do both. You know what? In other words, can't go up the stairs and make love. Does anybody get that? Well, I thought that was actually pretty good.
Oh, holy shit. That joke tanked so bad, I'm surprised Trump didn't claim Biden wrote it. But on the issues of America's stockpiles, Trump wasn't the only one trying to lay blame at Biden's feet.
About the assets, NBC News is reporting the Pentagon is actually rationing some defense weaponry amid diminishing supplies. Is America backing away from a larger military attack because its military stockpile has been depleted?
Well, look, we have to take a step back here in that a lot of stockpiles were depleted, not only from what we gave Ukraine over the last however many years, 4 or 5 years, and a depleted military under the Biden administration.
Got it. So U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Mike Waltz, has declared that because of the Biden administration, America now has depleted munitions.
Do you acknowledge they're depleted, at this moment?
I want to be crystal clear. The U.S. military, and I've verified this every which way, has everything that it needs to conduct this campaign as effectively as it needs to be.
Oh, so Biden didn't deplete all the munitions. Phew, what a whirlwind. That was like getting in your car and seeing your tank is on E, but then someone telling you that E stands for enough gas. But so that we're crystal clear, our stockpiles are perfectly fine, and any rumor to the contrary is simply fake news.
And I have to tell you, the people that are leaking this nonsense deserve to be in jail.
Am I the only one confused here? I don't believe it's possible to leak nonsense because either the leaks are true or they're not leaks, they're just lies. In which case, jail time feels like a pretty stiff penalty. I mean, it would have been pretty weird if Edward Snowden fled the United States to escape a prison sentence, not for leaks, but because he told everybody that he used to date Jennifer Aniston. But what are you going to do? I guess high inflation and other depleted weapon stockpiles are the cornerstones of Biden's lasting legacy.
Diesel prices now at $5.20 per gallon. It's about $1.50 than before the war started. What do you tell the ag community right now who's dealing with that?
Well, there's no doubt that our farm economy is in a challenging time, right? Inputs under the last administration up by about 40%, even with those diesel prices that you just mentioned. And I'm not underplaying that that's not important, but that's still less than it was during the Biden years.
See, while it's widely known that presidents leaving office often leave a letter to the incoming president inside the desk of the Oval, what's less known is how presidents are also able to get incoming presidents into intractable wars a year into their presidency. Totally true. Anything else that's totally Joe Biden's fault?
When you look at the top issue among voters right now, it seems to be the cost of living. So what steps have been taken by the White House to really address that? Because that's going to be important as we head towards November.
Yeah. Well, the president and the White House, we fully recognize that. And I would remind your viewers and the American people of who caused the affordability crisis in this country. It was Joe Biden and it was the Democrats in this city when they were in power. And President Trump took immediate action on day one to fix that.
Well, here we are on day 553, and it hasn't been much of a fix now, has it? I think I know what happened here. Trump said he was going to fix our affordability problems on day one, but what he actually did was contract out that fix to a more reliable fixer. Well, either that or everybody in this administration is trying to excuse their way out of the most disastrous 18 months our nation has experienced in recent history. Honestly, inflation is Joe Biden's fault. Our depleted stockpiles are Joe Biden's fault. Our affordability crisis is Joe Biden's fault. I'm surprised Trump doesn't just say the entire disastrous war in Iran is all Biden's doing.
On the Iran war, have you been frustrated with Secretary Hegseth because of the advice he gave you early on in the war and how it's turned out?
I think he's done a great job.
Got it. Well, at least all this blame is coming from a sane place. The reality is, Donald Trump is doing everything in his power to rig the upcoming midterms in the hopes of keeping majority control over our government. But with all this incessant blaming of Joe Biden, you gotta wonder, why? Why does Trump want all that power so badly if he can be so easily undermined by a man who, by his own suggestion, looks like he should be acting in Life Alert commercials? Donald Trump's party controls the executive, both chambers of Congress, and holds a majority on the Supreme Court, and it's still not enough power to overcome the wrath of Joe Biden? Give me a fucking break. The real reason we have high inflation and our economy is in shambles and gas prices have skyrocketed and homes are unaffordable and healthcare isn't accessible and cancer research is underfunded and the Epstein files haven't been released is because of them. It is their failed policies and their inability to govern that are to blame for America's woes. Or to put that another way,
It was Joe Biden and it was the Democrats in this city when they were in power.
sure,